By the 1630s, English settlements in New England were expanding steadily. The fertile lands of the Connecticut River Valley attracted increasing numbers of English settlers who moved westward from Massachusetts Bay and Plymouth. As new communities took root, tensions grew between these settlers and the Native American nations already inhabiting the region. Among these nations, the Pequot tribe was one of the most powerful, controlling significant trade networks and alliances along the coast and inland. At the center of the growing tension was competition over trade, particularly the lucrative fur trade, as well as disputes over territory. The English began forming alliances with rival native tribes, including the Mohegan and the Narragansett, who saw the Pequot's dominance as a threat. In 1634, a trader named John Stone was killed near the Connecticut River, allegedly by Western Niantic people associated with the Pequot. The English viewed this as a hostile act, although the circumstances were complex and may have involved personal grievances or misunderstandings rather than outright warfare. 2 years later, in 1636, another English trader, John Oldham, was killed while sailing along the coast near Block Island. English colonists quickly blamed the Pequot for the attack, though historians debate whether the Pequots were directly responsible. Seeking retaliation and to assert their authority, the Massachusetts Bay Colony launched an expedition against native groups in the region, further inflaming tensions. Hostilities escalated into open conflict as English forces and their native allies began attacking Pequot settlements. The war reached a brutal turning point in May 1637, when an English-led force under Captain John Mason, alongside Mohegan and Narragansett warriors, launched an assault on the main Pequot fortified village at Mystic. At dawn, Mason's forces surrounded the fort. Instead of simply attacking with weapons, the English set the fort on fire. As the flames spread rapidly through the tightly packed wooden structures, English soldiers and their native allies killed those attempting to escape. Between 400 and 700 Pequot men, women and children were killed in the attack, effectively destroying the heart of the Pequot nation. Smaller skirmishes continued throughout 1637 and into 1638 as English and native forces hunted down Pequot survivors. Those who were captured were often sold into slavery in the West Indies or forced to live among other tribes under strict conditions imposed by colonial authorities. The war formally ended with the signing of the Treaty of Hartford in 1638. Under the terms of the treaty, the Pequot nation was effectively dissolved. The name Pequot was forbidden, survivors were absorbed into other tribes, and the Pequot lands were divided between the English and their native allies, particularly the Mohegans and Narragansetts. The Pequot War had significant consequences for the future of New England. It marked the first major armed conflict between English settlers and Native Americans in the region, setting a pattern for how colonial authorities would respond to perceived native threats. It also solidified English territorial claims in southern New England and opened new lands for settlement. However, it created deep resentment and fear among native communities, planting seeds for future conflicts, including King Philip's War several decades later. Today, the story of the Pequot War is remembered not only for its military significance, but also as a reminder of the human cost of colonial expansion. Modern descendants of the Pequot people, including the Mashantucket Pequot tribal nation, continue to preserve their history and culture, ensuring that the events of the 1630s are not forgotten.